everybody, and welcome to Vinyl Treasures. I'm your host, Johnny G, John Galindo, coming to you live each and every Saturday only here on Top Shelf Oldies. I want to welcome you to the April 6th, 2019 Vinyl Treasure Show. It's all 50s and early 60s tonight. Late start. I had a grueling week. I had to work today. I had to get a haircut. I had to run some errands. Falling behind, and YouTube changed the configuration, so I can't find the chat in the I can't find it. You guys are finding it, but I can't find it anyway. I don't know how to work it, but it's enough of my babbling here. We opened up tonight's 50s edition from Los Angeles, California, the Jack McVie Orchestra. Jack played both tenor and baritone sax, and also he played the clarinet, but you see his name on many R&B sides to come out of California, and actually he was the house band for Jake Porter's Combo label, not to mention his own releases on the Combo label. Combo 112 was a song called Gaucho Hop, which was used as a B-side to a release by the Sharps 6 months, 3 weeks on the Tag label. The flip side of that was this song that we heard, but it was called Chacho Hop. And again, Chess Records picked it up in February of 58, and that's the label I featured it on. We heard a B-side there. The flip side of that Sharps record on Chess from February 58, it's Jack McVie and his orchestra on Chess called Chacho Hop, as Johnny G loses his mind. Well, enough of my babbling here. Let's start off the vocal portion here. Let's open up with a group out of Berkeley, California. It's on Ray Dobard's Music City label. The group is called the Gaylarks, but in reality, they were not the Gaylarks. They were another Bay Area group called the Five Lyrics. Do any of you listeners wear Ivy League clothes? What are Ivy League clothes? I don't even know, but that's the title of this tune. Let's go to June of 58. We open up with the Gaylarks, aka the Five Lyrics, on Music City with Ivy League clothes.
I want those Ivy League clothes.
A smooth-footed bath. Oh, by those Ivy League clothes. Oh, by those Ivy League clothes. Oh, by those Ivy League clothes. You ought to stay home. Oh, by those Ivy League clothes. Oh, by those Ivy League clothes. Oh, by those Ivy League clothes. I'm sorry for you, little girl, but you ain't nothing in this whole wide world. You look like something out of space. How you ought to put some makeup on your face. Oh, by those Ivy League clothes. Oh, by those Ivy League clothes. Oh, by those Ivy League clothes.
I'm sorry, little girl. We just can't take your money. You look too much like a bear. Something ugly. You're just a little ugly bear. It's a shame to be as ugly as you are. But you're just a little bear. An ugly bear. You're just so ugly, we just can't tell you.
We open up the vocal portion novelty tune there by the Gaylarks, June 1958. Ray Dobard's Music City record label. Ivy League Clothes is the name of that one. I probably got some Ivy League clothes in my closet. I'm slimming down, going to get into those Ivy League clothes. But the reason Dobard really called this a 5 lyrics group, the Gaylarks, is because they were very popular in the Bay Area, had a loyal following, but he figured the teens would purchase that 45 because it was by the Gaylarks. Unfortunately, they did not, or maybe they did in the Bay Area. Who knows? As we continue here for our 1950s and early 60s edition of the Vinyltreasure Show, we head to Philadelphia, PA for this next group. Their biggest hit was a song I'm sure many of you know. Originally came out as Dead Man Stroll. Then they changed it to Midnight Stroll. Came out on the Norgold label back in 1959, but they began earlier, 1954, on the Atlas label. They were known as the Revels Quartet, but recordings followed on Sound, Teen, and this label. I'm featuring Chess Records from October of 1958. Let's give a listen to the Revels on Chess. It's called False Alarm.
Many charms, please baby, please don't give my heart a false alarm. You know that I love you, love you so. But maybe I never want to let you go. Well, why must you treat me this way? I can't sleep or night or day. Seem to understand that I really want to be your man. You should realize that I need you, need you by my side. Darling, I know what I love you ever die. You know I love you so. Seem to understand that I really want to be your man. You should realize that I need you, need you by my side. Darling, I don't want our love to ever die. You know I love you so.
Boy, Johnny G really behind the 8 ball tonight. As I didn't even get the next record on it. Finally found the chat room in this new, they don't have great instructions. They think everybody's like a whiz on the YouTube stuff. I am not a whiz. I try my best, but I am not. So sorry for the delay, folks, as we continue here. And did I say hi to Daryl? If I did not, Daryl, say hi to you. But anyway, those are the Revels. That's a great record there. False Alarm on the Chess record label from October 1958. These are some great records, the Revels. They also became much more soulful later on in their career. Johnny G here trying to get things ironed out, as I really need to do, because I need to change the needle for this next record. Hold on, folks. Let me just take that needle off and put it over here. Don't want to mess that up. Got to put the 78 needle on because I'm playing that flip side from last week on the SRC label, and they cut it with this. However they make records, they cut it with the 78 mold. They did. Okay, I did that. That's going to do it. But anyway, let's continue here now. Last week I played a request for Ron and Dorothy from listeners from Michigan by a group called the Five Emeralds. Came out on the SRC label. It was called Let Me Take You Out Tonight, which was the intended B-side of the 45. Let's flip it over, give a listen to the A-side, because the ballad was the A-side. It was the first of two they recorded on SRC. It features Norman McLean on lead, and like I did, I changed the 78 needle, so we're going to put it on here. We go back to 1954 for this. Should sound better with this needle. Here we go. These are the Five Emeralds with I'll Beg. Johnny G will beg.
I'll beg, I'll plead, I'll even get out on my knees, begging you, please come home. Please come home, my darling. I'm lost without you. I don't know what to do. I'll wait till after hours just to be alone with you. I'll beg, I'll plead, I'll even get down on my knees, begging you, please come home. Please come home. My darling, I'm lost without you. I don't know what to do. I'll wait till after hours just to be alone with you. I'll beg, I'll plead, I'll even get down on my knees, begging you, please come home.
Wow, that sounds real. That sounds real nice with the 78 needle there. Those are the Five Emeralds from 1954. That's the first of two they recorded on the SRC. I have it on the maroon label. Supposedly the rarer one is on the blue label. I have the second one on the blue label, but that's a song entitled I'll Beg. Norman McLean, he is on lead for that one. Let's continue here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. We count down the music chronologically here. We move into 1955 now. Got a cover tune up next. The song originally written and recorded by Arthur Gunter. Arthur Gunter did it in 1954 on the Excello label. The next version to come out was this 45 on Sid Nathan's deluxe record label. The group is called the Thunderbirds. I think Elvis would follow this. Elvis would follow about a month later after this January 1955 release. So let's give a listen to the Thunderbirds version of this. The Thunderbirds from January 55 on deluxe. Their version of the tune "Baby, Let's Play House."
You may go to college, may go to school. You may get religion, baby, don't you be nobody's fool. Now, baby, come, come back, baby, come. Come back, baby, I wanna play a house with you. Well, listen, let me tell you, baby, what I'm talking about. Come on back to me, little girl, so we can play some house. Now, baby, come, come. Come back, baby, come. Come back, baby, I wanna play a house with you. You to know. Come on back and let's play a little house and we can do what we did before. Now, baby, come, baby, come. Come back, baby, come. Come back, baby, I wanna play a house with you. Now, listen, let me tell you, baby, don't you understand? I'd rather see you gone, little girl, than to see you with another man. Now, baby, come, baby, come. Come back, baby, come. Come back, baby, I wanna play a house with you.
As Johnny G gets caught again here, you see I had to change the needle. You know, I need a studio assistant. Where's my studio assistant? Anyway, that's a cool tune there. That's a cover song there by a group called the Thunderbirds, January 1955. Baby, Let's Play House is the name of the tune on Sid Nathan's deluxe record label. Now, Elvis would cover this about a month later after this Thunderbirds release, and actually the name Thunderbirds, there were 8 different groups that recorded as the Thunderbirds. Now, Warren, you asked the question, why didn't they give the writer credit on that record? That's because they want anybody to know that Arthur Gunter wrote the song, and I don't know, maybe they didn't pay royalties on that either. I don't know what it is with that, but it wasn't really. Although I think when Brian Kelleher, when I worked for Sony, he told me that it wasn't a requirement that they really put at that time, that they do put the writers on the record. It was just so they can get proper credit with the ASCAP or BMI or whatever they were registered with. I think that was the reason. Anyway, but don't quote Johnny G. Let's continue here for a Saturday evening as I am struggling tonight. And we just heard from the Thunderbirds from 1955, January. Let's stay in that same year of January. Actually, listener Darrell Letts mentioned if I was going to play the flip side of this 45 a couple of weeks ago. I told him I would. And I'm talking about the debut 45 for Bobby Ralph and the Laurels. Came out on the Bahari Brothers Flair label. Now, 2 weeks ago, I featured the intended A-side. It was called Farewell. So actually, we'll send this B-side out to Darrell. Again, written by the lead singer, Bobby Ralph. We go to January 55, Bobby Ralph and the Laurels on the Flair label. It's called Yours Alone.
Yours alone, just to have and to hold, my dear. yours alone, just to love through the years. You know how we plan this little thing. Well, but you made it all a little game. Why did you leave me this way? Oh, tell me how I've got astray, if you still care. Won't you please let me know? 'Cause you know I want to be yours alone. If you still care, won't you please let me know? 'Cause you know I want to be yours
They don't make records like that anymore. Bobby Ralph and the Laurels there, January 1955. That's the B-side. It's called Yours Alone. That one there on the Flair record label. Not an easy record to find by no means. Sir Hats, Watching Johnny G. That's Midnight is Rick. I forgot that. Hi, Rick. Didn't see you there. But anyway, I have that. I don't have that record on a 45. I have it on a 78. Don't Say You're Sorry by the Kingsmen. Great record. Gonna have to do an all 78 show. I think that's what Sir Hats is. He likes the 78s, but I'll have to pull that one out on a 78 to play along with. I can bring out some others I don't have on a 45. That would make for an interesting show. Johnny G babbling on here as we continue, and couldn't file this next 45 back unless I played the A side. Now, the common way to get this for you collectors out there, which you probably do have this, is on the Josie label. You should have this one on the Josie label, but it's very hard to get it on the original label, which is called Jendi Records, which is out of Philadelphia. So I'm assuming this group is out of Philadelphia too, because there's not much known about the group. Now, I played the B-side a couple weeks ago. It was called Broken Hearted Baby, which was a cool jump. Now, the A-side uses very little instrumentation, but has excellent vocal style here. Let's go to 1955 with the 5 notes with the Hamiltones. Don't know how much the Hamiltones are really playing their instruments, but it's on Jendi Records. It's the original label, and the tune is called You Are So Beautiful.
You are so beautiful. You are a dream divine. But there's a danger sign. I can see deep within. Said you are beautiful. And I am such a fool. You simply make the rule. How can I ever win? I know I am a dreamer. To think you would give in. Oh, helpless, wishful dreamer, who knew long ago this should not have been. But you're so beautiful. And when you touch my hand, I'm in a wonderland, back in the same old spin. I know I am a dreamer. To think you would give in. Oh, helpless, wishful dreamer, who knew long ago this should not have been. But you're so beautiful. And when you touch my hand, I'm in a wonderland, back in the same old spin.
Well, the instrumentation does come back later on. It does get more involved there, but that great vocal style there for that group, they're called the Five Notes. 1955, You Are So Beautiful is the name of that one. Featured it on the original label, Gen D Records. Some pops in that one, so what are you going to do? And I think that only comes on a promo, just so it said on the bottom there, it says not for sale. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening, a beautiful day too today. I wanted to go out and do my walk. I'm progressing very well too on the diet. I'm down 46 pounds. I've got 28 more to go, and that's since February 15th, so I'm feeling good about it. Let's continue here. And on the last 50s edition, I played a request for Rick in Philly. He wanted to hear an early Four Tops release. Came out on Leonard Chess's Chess label. Now, according to the Matrix number, that was the intended B-side. Rick requested the tune Could It Be You. It featured a 19-year-old Levi Stubbs on lead. So let's give a listen to the flip side, the intended A-side, and it's still Levi Stubbs in his natural baritone voice. He uses a different voice on those Motown releases, but this is his true voice. Let's go to April of 1956. Give a listen to the Four Tops on Chess and their tune called Kiss Me, Baby.
Hey, pretty baby, what is your name? You've got such a streamlined flame. Let's move, baby. Hey, hey, kiss me, baby. Hey, 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 love me all night long. Well, I was just to ask you, dust to dust, I gotta find me a woman that I can really trust. I wanna move, baby. Hey, hey, thrill me, baby. Hey, 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 love me all night long. Well, another one is two, two and two is four. Come on, baby, let's run and rock some more. Let's move, baby. Hey, hey, kiss me, baby. Hey, 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 love me all night long.
That's early Four Tops there. I guess if I was to do a Motown special, you'd have to play the early sides. It'd take you a long time to do that. Warren's been wanting me to do my Motown 45s. I can try that, but believe me, that's way before Motown. 1956 there. Those are the Four Tops. April 1956, the Four Tops, Kiss Me Baby on Chess Records. Levi Stubbs on lead, 19-year-old at the time. We continue here on the Vinyltreasure Show. Brian, you're going to recognize some of these records. Even if you get a chance to look at the video, you will see and you will know that. Let's continue with the B-sides here. This time we go to High Weiss's Old Town record label, this group out of Brooklyn, New York. Now, the lead had that high voice. I don't know if it's quite falsetto, but it definitely is a high voice. His name is Eddie Carson. I played the A-side of this a couple of weeks ago. It was called Crazy Love. Now, the B-side's a nice ballad, and it's a song he wrote. We go to February 56. These are the Royal Tones with a B-side on Old Town Records. It's called Never Let Me Go. B-sides here on the Vinyltreasure Show. Boy, that plays really nice, Brian. It really does. Every time I would find that record, it would not play well. It would be trashed. You know, in the 50s, people really didn't take care of their records. Well, I don't want to say most, because I know my late aunt, she didn't put her records back in the sleeves. She left them like in boxes they were just like thrown around, and they'd put a stack of records on, and they would, 5 records at a time, they drop down on those automatic Victrolas. But anyway, that's a B-side there by the Royal Tones. Eddie Carson on lead with that high falsetto voice, February 56. on High Weiss's Old Town label, Never Let Me Go. Their follow-up to that was a song called Latin Love, which is pretty good, and also the flip song called Hey Norman. John G here for a Saturday evening. Hope you're digging on the cool 1950s sounds here. Let's continue. We stay with the flip sides. I just had to play this. It's this record is considered a classic, has to be. This group from Harvey, Illinois, and I played the B-side of this 45 on Vivian Carter's VJ label a couple weeks ago, a song called JoJo. But this song has to be one of the all-time hits of R&B history, and this one was one of my aunt's favorite songs. She liked this song not only when it originally came out in July of 56, but also when it was resung back in 1969. But it's written by group members Johnny Funches and the lead singer. His name is Marvin Jr. Let's go to July of 56. Took a while for the record really to take off, but originally released in July of 56. Give a listen to the Dells on VJ and their classic. It's called Oh, What a Night.
Oh, what a night to love you, dear. Oh, what a night to hold you near. Oh, what a night to squeeze you, dear. That's why I love you so. Oh, what a night, love you, dear. Oh, what a night to walk you, dear. Oh, what a night to kiss you, dear. That's why I love you so. I won't forget all those things you have done to me. Pains in my heart won't let me forget your love. To love you, dear. Oh, what a night to hold you near. Oh, what a night to squeeze you, dear. That's why I love you so. Love you, dear. Oh, what a night to walk you, dear. Oh, what a night to kiss you, dear. That's why I love you so.
Classics here on the Vinyltreasure Show, and that's on the promo. That's harder to find than the original stock 45. That one there, the Great Dells, Marvin Jr. on lead. July 1956 release, Oh, What a Night. On Vivian Carter's VJ record label. This again would become a hit 13 years later in 1969. I think it was like a top 10 national record and R&B charts, probably number one on Cadet Records, but a much longer version. It is definitely a lot longer than the original. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening as we continue. And can we play just one more flip side from a couple weeks ago? Actually, listener, Métis Campboy, my number one California listener, requested the ballad Take Me As I Am. But I have to play the flip side. It's such a cool jump tune as we go to Ben Smith and Bill Bass Gordon's Teenage label. It's the first of two for a group called The Demons, spelled Demens. It features Eddie Jones on lead. I have a mint copy of this, by the way. If you find this record clean, usually goes for a lot of money. If it's kind of whipped, this was my first copy I purchased from Louis Silvani way back in the early 1980s. But anyway, either way you cut it, it's a great two-sided 45. It's from August 57. Give a listen to The Demons with Eddie Jones on lead on Teenage Records. It's called You Broke My Heart. August 57 release there for The Demons on the Teenage label out of New York City. Eddie Jones on lead. Cool tune there. You Broke My Heart is the name of that one. Great up-tempo tune there. Johnny G here spinning 45s for a Saturday evening. I missed the Allentown, PA show today, and really used to get the scoop from my deceased friend Spence Wooten. Unfortunately, I miss Spence a lot, really. He would actually look for records for me. It was amazing. I probably would have, see him the next day. He would bring the records here to play on the turntable, hear how they sound. Because he goes, you got to play them on your set because, they play better on different record players, and you got great and they would love to come up here. You talked to Dave the Rave when he came up here to even when he came here a number of times. I had a big record party here at the house, and I invited Val, I invited Louis Silvani, I invited a couple of the guys to come up. Barry Soltz came up, a bunch of people came. Thompson from South Jersey. I had a bunch of people here at the house. My mother made chicken cutlets. I had all this cake and soda and beer and whatnot, and they were here till like 3 o'clock in the morning from noon. But I had a big record, like a record get-together here at the house. And I don't know if maybe sometime in the future I'd like to do that again, but it's a pretty cool thing. But I would have loved to have gone to Allentown. I always had to go in with a lot of money, and I'd have to bring cash. Now they take my checks, but I would have to go in with a lot of cash, and I would spend like $10,000 every time I would go. Anyway, Johnny G losing his mind here as we continue. Up next, we stay in 1957, but up next, a group out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. The group met up with a Pittsburgh disc jockey by the name of J. Michael. He was a jock on WCAE, and he was looking for local talent to steer them over to New York record mogul George Goldner. So for that favor, Goldner set up a label for this guy. It was called the Cindy record label. It was named after J. Michael's daughter. It was. These are you have to grease one palm to the other. That's what these guys used to do. Now, this was one of the groups that Jay introduced to Goldner, and he liked them enough to have them record this Lone 45, written by Ronnie Williams. He's also doing lead. This one from September 57. These are the Orlandos. The Orlandos on Cindy with their tune called Cloudburst.
There's a cloudburst in the sky coming from above. Tell me, oh please tell me, am I really in love? Oh, she's gone. We were together, two hearts as one. Please won't you find her and send my loved one back home. Please won't you find her? I ask this of you. Bring us together. I'm asking you to. Please, Mr. Cloudburst, see what you can do. If you see her, tell her I need her. Tell her I miss her so. Oh, won't you do this? I know you can do it. Won't you make my darling go? Oh, I'm alone. I need someone to call my own. Please won't you find her and send my loved one back home.
September 1957, released there for a group called the Orlandos. Song entitled Cloudburst on the Cindy record label. I think it was Slim Rose, maybe. When they re-released this record on the original, it has to be that block print Cindy. It came out like on the box. There's like Cindy in the Box is the second press. That record got some resurgence. I think by Times Square Records was playing it or something like that. But anyway, did you notice that record, that volume wasn't the greatest? I'll tell you why. When I first started collecting, it took me a while to realize this, but there were some dealers out there that were polishing 45s. Now, I think there's basically two ways to polish a 45. I will not mention names, but there's at least three or four people that I know that would polish the 45. See, because I saw it in action. What they would do is they would go to the Allentown, PA record show. I'm using that as an example. And they'd go and they'd say, let me look at your cheaper records or records that were like in off condition. And, they would get a deal from a lot of the dealers. And they would probably be a record like that was probably VG at best. So then what happens is the one way of polishing the record is they use a buffing machine that you would like compound your car with, like with the spinners. And I don't know what they would put on it, but some solution would be put on it, and it would actually, what it does is it wears down the grooves. So the sound quality sounds horrific. It sounds terrible. And there was one guy in Pennsylvania that did that quite often, and I bought a lot of records from him, and sometimes I would luck out because they would reasonable prices. And I think at one time Louis Silvani got involved with it. He goes, I'm not selling polished records anymore. So it's easy. Some people can't tell. The other way to polish records is when they fill in the scratches with some solution. It really fills in the scratches, and you can't see it visually if you're at a record show and the light's not great. The records look clean. Hey, these look like clean records. And I used to catch him all the time. I said, Spence, these records are polished. I says, and you can tell when you put it on the turntable, you usually can tell. But that's what it is. But you see, really, it deceives the buyer. It's not really good. Leave it alone. Leave it looking like a crappy VG record, because it'll play better. Believe me, it would. At least you can use a toothbrush or something and clean it out. But when you polish it, you get a terrible sound quality like that. So I really have to upgrade that record. So if anybody's got a mint copy of the Orlandos, Johnny G is looking for it. As I babble on here, let's continue. You got a lot of records I need to play, a lot of requests tonight. So let's go back to the flip side from a couple weeks ago. We head to the Bronx, New York for this group called the Duvals. I featured it on the second label, LaSalle Records. It originally came out on the club label, Rare 45, but that one's ultra rare. But let's flip it over, give a listen to the B-side. No, actually, I featured the B-side. It was called Wanna Be Free. But let's listen to the A-side, which is pretty good in my opinion. It's from 1957. It's Phil Johnson and the Duvals. This is on the second label, LaSalle. It's called Yes, I Do.
Yes, I do. Need you so. You should know. Took you, baby, by the hand. Begged you, baby, to understand that I want you. Oh, yes, I do. Yes, I do. Showed me the promised land, the land of love and man of man. Now I want you. Oh yes, I do. I knew when I saw you, I knew it right then and there. For my heart started singing. There is my love right there. I want you. Yes, I do. Well, I need you so. Pretty baby, you should know. Well, if you just take my heart, we will never, ever, ever part. It's really true that I want you. Yeah. Take my heart, but we will never, ever, ever promise will be true. That I want you, I want you. Oh yes, I do.
That's Phil Johnson and the Duvals from 1957. Featured it on the LaSalle label. That's the second label. Originally came out on the Club label. The same label, I think the Willows have a record on the Club label, that orange label. Anyway, that's a song entitled Yes, I Do. And yes, Johnny G plays only original vinyl. I'm going to try next week to do some 78. So Sir Hats, if you show up there, I will play that Kingsman 78 for you, so tune in for that. I think that record came out in 57 maybe, so that'll be about this time next week. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening. We continue. I just love this next group out of Brooklyn, New York. Haven't heard them in a while, especially this song, which is a B-side to their fourth release on Jerry Winston's Onyx label. It's with Sammy Lowe and the orchestra with the late Jerome Ramos on lead. Let's go to October 1957 for the Velours. The Velours on Onyx. It's called Hands Across the Table.
Hands across the table while the lights are low. Though you hush your lips, your fingertips tell me all I want to know. Hands across the table, me so tenderly, and they say in their little way that you belong to me. Hands across the table, darling. Yes, while the nights are low. Though you hush your lips, yes, your fingertips tell me all I want to know. Oh, hands across the table, me so tenderly, and they say in their little way that you belong to
That's the fourth of five for the Velours. Hands Across the Table. Jerome Ramos on lead. October 1957. That's the B-side to This Could Be the Night. Another great record they do on Jerry Winston's Onyx label. Let's stay in the year 1957. Actually finally found this request for Bopper Boy Warren. This record I've been looking for a while. I found, today we're going to clear out a lot of requests because I found a lot of requests looking at boxes in the back of my closet. And this is on the Vision label out of New York City. Now, this singer's real name is Harmon Jones, but I guess his friends and admirers and his and his listeners called him Hump Jones. Maybe he had a hump in his back. I don't know. I've never heard anybody called Hump as a first name, but except maybe a camel. Anyway, this is a song he wrote. So by request for Warren, currently in both chat rooms, my YouTube chat room and also my Top Shelf Oldies chat room. This one from April 57. It's on the Vision label. This is Hump Jones. It's called Looking for My Baby.
I'm going looking for my baby. Girl that left me cold. I gotta find my baby 'cause she's gone and left me cold. And when I find my baby, love her like I never loved before. She's a good-looking woman, best-looking girl I ever seen. She's a fine-looking woman, best-looking girl I ever seen. Got a shape like I want her, and you know that girl's my queen. I'm going looking for the girl who once got me crying, got to find that a woman before I lose my mind. I can't eat, can't sleep, I'm just walking the floor. She got me doing all things I never did before. When I find my girl, I'm gonna jump and shout 'cause I need her love. I cannot do without. I'm gonna tell her, I'm gonna tell her, I'm gonna tell her about my heart and how I love her so. I'm gonna talk sweet words that I never said before. I'm gonna hug my baby and we'll walk that walk, and you can bet your bottom dollar that we'll talk that talk. Oh baby, oh baby, well baby, oh baby, 'cause she's my baby and I love her, indeed I do. You know I love my baby, I'm gonna tell the world I do. Oh baby, come back baby, hey baby, well
So Warren, where'd you find out about that record? How'd you find out about that 45? Because I mean, I know some people are looking for it, but did you find it by accident possibly? But anyway, it's not an easy record to find, by the way. This Hump Jones from April 1957 by request for Bopper Boy Warren. Looking for My Baby is the name of that one. Came out on the Vision label. It's a song he wrote, and he would have one more release in early 1958 on the East West label. I have that one also. He changed his name. He took the U out, unless it's a typo. It's Hamp Jones. He was called after that. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening. Hope you're digging on the cool tunes here. We continue back to the flip sides. And a couple weeks ago, I opened up the show with a group called the Spades. The song was called I'm on Fire. Came out on Bernie Hess's major label, which was out of San Augustine, Texas, but that was the intended B-side. This is the A-side. It's a ballad. Some nice harmony in the background here. Nice background vocals on this one. This one from December 58. We move into 58. Give a listen to the Spades on major. It's called Close to You.
My dream came true, and I found you. There dwell love in my heart so true. You're the answer to my dream come true. Each night I long to be with you.
December 1958 release there for a group called The Spades. The Spades on the major label, that major label out of San Augustine, Texas. Close to You is the name of that. I think I bought that from Charles Butch Ford. He was I think he was a dealer out of Ohio, and he was selling his collection. And I remember he told me, he said, I bought all my records from Val Shively mail order. And he did, because at the time, and I never physically bought a record from Val Shively. I've got a record through a three-way deal one time from Val, so don't let him tell you, oh, Johnny's bought from me before. I've never have. I always thought his prices were high, and maybe if I bought them back then, even though they were higher, maybe they would have been much higher. Well, it depends what the record is, because he used to sell records for $1 or $2 way back when. Anyway, John G. babbling on here. Let's continue. We go back to Los Angeles, California for this next 45, as many members of this group were also members of the Jayhawks that recorded on the Flash and Aladdin labels. Then they added lead singer Richard Owens, and the group became the Vibes. And this is the first of two that they recorded on the Allied label. Let's go back to September of 1958. Allied Records, These Are the Vibes, with a song entitled You Are. That's a Styrene 45 that plays excellent. Those are the Vibes. September 1958 release, You Are is the name of that one on the Allied record label. Now, these Vibes turned into the Vibrations in 1960. Richard Owens and Carl Fisher became major lead singers for the group with releases on Checker, Atlantic, and the OK record label. I got to tell you a story about that record. When I had my record party here way back when, probably 2001 or 2002, and I invited Danny Romanello, and he was the host of the Group Harmony Review, and I saw him at a couple record like functions or record sales or whatever, and I said, Danny, I says, I should come up and do a guest spot on your show sometime. He was like, well, do you have any records that you could play on my show? I said, well, I think I do. So I invited him to this party, and I said, Danny, you want to see some of the records I would feature on your show? So he came up here where I'm broadcasting, and he was looking through my boxes, and he goes, you have this, and you have this, and you have this. And he goes, when can you come do the show? Can you come? I'm taping Wednesday. Can you come and tape on Wednesday? I says, Danny, I can't. Let's, set it up. Because I used to go and tape the show with him on Wednesday evenings. I'd come back from work. I was working in White Plains, and I would drive over to Fordham University, and I'd bring my box of records. So I did about 10 or 12 shows with him. We would kind of co-host the show. I would bring my records, and we'd do like 3 and 4 record sets. So on the last show I did, I think it was around the 4th of July. He wanted me to bring, he had some requests he needed to fill, and I had them, and I brought them up. And I was always a little worried about his turntables there, and if they were good needles, if they were the right tone arm. So anyway, on my last show, I had some very rare records, and I some styrene records. That record was one of them that I brought up there. Not this particular one, but I had another mint copy of this record. So I think he was playing on, there were 2 turntables. He was playing Beverly My Darling by the Individuals, Hank Blackwell and the Individuals on Music City. I said, that's a rare. I said, Danny, that record doesn't sound right. It sounds muddy. I said, is that a good needle? And he told me it was. So anyway, this record was played. I think I played a Sentimentals on styrene, but he was rotating the turntables. And every styrene that was played on that one turntable, I ended up playing it. When I played it on mine, it had a terrible hiss. And I was so pissed about that. I stopped doing the show after that point. I says, Danny, I said, you ruined, good thing I had a record by Davey, which I spent like $500 on. And I said, Danny, I expect it to be good equipment. Like when Dave comes here, I says, Dave, I'm playing my records on here. These are new needles that we're using. And you see, I have 1.5 or 2 on the weight. And I was really upset with Danny. I says, Danny, I can't play any records up there anymore. No way. And then one time I used to deal with Chris Farrell. He says, Johnny, don't bring your records. You got to tape them on CD and bring them up. And that was Chris Farrellis that told me. Anyway, Johnny G babbling on here. Let's continue here. You collectors out there, you're probably listening to what I say, so be careful when you do guest spots, unless you come here to do a guest spot. Anyway, let's up next, a request for George Tompkins as we go to Sid Nathan's Deluxe record label. Now, this artist goes by the name of Johnny Darling, which to me sounds like a made-up name. Now, some collectors and ex-collectors I know would be willing to bet, because they told me, that this artist, Johnny Darling, is really Calvin Khaki Roulette. And he was the lead singer of a group called the Honey Boys that recorded on the Bahari Brothers Modern label. And that group was originally from Baltimore, Maryland. And Calvin was also a good friend with Eddie Rich of the Swallows. And they both grew up in the same neighborhood, so they were friends. And they both would later resurrect the Swallows with the releases after the group broke up on Federal Records. There's some cool Swallow releases on Federal. But anyway, this is a by request for George Tompkins. We go to July of 58 for Johnny Darling on Deluxe. It's called I Don't Want to Wind Up in Love.
Won't you please take your arms from around me? Won't you please take your lips away? Darn that moon, darn that tune, sung by angels above. I just don't want to wind up in love. Won't you let me get myself together? 'Cause your kiss has me so afraid, and the gleam in your eyes tells me what you're thinking of, and I don't want to wind up in love. 'Cause I've seen lovers come and go, and they always wind up the same. Broken hearted, that's why I want no part of the game. your magic. It does nothing but give me a shock. Pity me, can't you see my poor heart's in misery? 'Cause I don't want to wind up in love. I don't want to wind up in love.
That's a beautiful record there by Johnny Darling. Johnny Darling, actually, and I think Charlene, was it did you tell me the Hurricanes were backing him up on this one? I forgot to put that down. I think it's Johnny Darling and the Hurricanes, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, July 1958, by request for George Tompkins, I Don't Want to Wind Up in Love. Sid Nathan's deluxe record label for that one. And supposedly Calvin Rolette, he died a very sad death. He became an alcoholic and was found frozen to death in an alleyway in Baltimore, Maryland. Very sad, but it's a great voice there, if in fact that is him, although it does sound like him. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening as we continue. We continue here, and up next, a request for Ron Feba. Ron Feba of Michigan. He requested this group from North Philadelphia, started back in 1956, recording for Eddie Heller's Rainbow label, but then recorded for the Martinique label. They had 2 releases on Martinique. Now, Ron requested their first, which would get picked up by Cameo Records after the group lip-synced this song on American Bandstand, May 7th of 1958. They were on American Bandstand. They sang to their record this song, and features Sammy Vale on lead. So by request, going out to Ron Feba, April 1958. These are the Playboys on the original label Martinique, a song entitled Over the Weekend.
Think it over the weekend. Don't be so quick to say that we're through. Those rumors that you heard, believe me, were absurd. There never was no one but you. While we're thinking over the weekend, remember how we thrilled to each kiss. Go home and close your eyes and you'll see through their lies. Then you'll never end it like this. Why, you'd be so wrong if you said so long without an investigation. I know that you care, and you'll judge me fair, and give my love its due consideration. In the meanwhile, over the weekend, I'll pray your verdict isn't goodbye. If you let jealousy take you away from me, over the weekend I'll die. Why, you'd be so wrong if you said so long without an investigation. I know that you care, and you judge me fair, and give my love its due consideration. In the meanwhile, over the weekend, I'll pray your verdict isn't goodbye. If you let jealousy take you away from me, over the weekend I'll die. Over the weekend I'll
By request for Ron Fiba there, the Playboys. The Playboys with Sammy Vale on lead. April 58 release. I featured it on the original label, Martinique Records, over the weekend. Yes, Daryl, this, I wouldn't call it a hit, a national hit. On Cameo, this record made it up to number 62 on Billboard, did better on Cashbox, number 29, was a big number 4 on WCUE in Akron, Ohio. So they really liked the record, and we'll send that one out to Ron. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening as we continue. Up next, we got a girl group sound as we go to Chicago, Illinois. They had 2 releases on Sid Nathan's Federal label. I'm featuring their first. I played their second. Where Are You, I think, was the second record they had. But I found this one in the box when I was going through, and I like this tune. The lead singer here is Connie well, I guess in American it would be Piscotti, but really it's Pisciotti is how you pronounce it in Italian. But this one from February 59, they're called the L Deans. The L Deans on Federal. It's called My Love for You.
My love for you will never end, will never die. I love you so, and here's the reason why. Because I know my love is real. My love is real. My love for you will last until the end of time, and I won't rest until you're mine. So now you know the way I feel. You played a game when you let me on. How could I know you were teasing? But when you said I should forget you, I could have died when I saw you leaving. My love for you is like no other love could be. You'll never love me that much, I can see. But my love for you will always be. Will always be. You played a game when you let me on. How could I know you were teasing? But when you said I should forget you, I could have died when I saw you leaving. My love for you is like no other love could be. You'll never love me that much, I can see. My love for you will always be. Will always be. Oh, my love for you. My love.
Girl group sounds here on the Vinyltreasure Show. They're called the L Deans. They're out of Chicago, Illinois. That's the first of 2 on Sid Nathan's Federal record label. February 59 release. My Love for You is the name of that one. Let's continue here. I'm sure many of you are familiar with The Wheels. The Wheels recorded for the Premium record label. They had a local New York hit, a great record, by the way, My Heart's Desire, back in 1956, plus others on that Premium label. But the lead singer, for that Brooklyn, New York group was Rudy Anderson. And here's one on the Curtis record label. This one is either a George Goldner label. It definitely has his matrix numbers. This Curtis, it's like a one-off record, I think, for George Goldner. But Rudy Anderson recorded here as Rudy and the Wheels, a song co-written by Richard Barrett. These are the kind of records you love to find for a quarter when you go to Rockland County to the 303 drive-in. The 303 drive-in I used to go to when I was in high school, and much later, as long as they had it, you'd be walking on these rocks, and I'd try to get there at the crack of dawn, because you had all these record collectors running around looking for records, and I'd get there and I'd go, oh man, he's going to take all the good ones, and he would always do. But I would get there early a couple times, and this record shows up for a quarter, and you're like, okay, maybe it's a cool tune, so you be the judge if this is worth every bit of 25 cents. Let's go to February 59 for Rudy and the Wheels on Curtis. It's called It's Not For Me.
Wedding march they're playing, it's not for me. Now everyone is saying it's not for me. I gave you my love. What good did it do? You threw it aside for another brand new. As you walk up the aisle with your groom by your side, I nod my head and smile, but I'm dying inside. About love as it used to be. That march they're playing is not for me. It's not for me. It's not for me. No, it's not for me. It's not for me. I said it's not for me. It's not for me. It's not for me.
That's Rudy and the Wheels. Rudy and the Wheels, really Rudy Anderson, the lead of the Wheels, the My Heart's Desire Wheels, and others. Also, a couple other groups for sure, too, as Johnny G draws a blank, but he was the lead for all other groups. February 59, Curtis Records, It's Not For Me. I said that right? Yes, it is. And who says, Sir Hat says, definitely worth a quarter, I'd say. And yes, I like it when I can educate other collectors. So thank you, Warren, for saying at least you can see some of these labels and what the originals look like. That makes Johnny G feel good. It does. You know that Kreider book, he put out actually 2 books of pictures of labels. Now, they weren't all in color. It would have cost a lot of money. But I've seen that label book, even his first one, go for a lot of money on eBay. I have both. And it's interesting because of the label scans. Sometimes they show the second presses, etc. Sort of like what, actually you get like a better view in 45 Cat. I find 45 Cat very interesting on some of the label scans that they do, the variations. Believe me, I have a lot of labels that 45 scan could do, but I just don't have the time to put it on. I do click the ones I do have, but I do have a lot of labels and a lot of things that they don't have on there. I do, but I don't have the time and I don't know how to crop the picture, so it's only the circle. Anyway, Johnny G babbling on. Let's continue here. Got a request for Rick in Philly. Finally getting to your request, Rick, because it's from 1959. Now, this singer was previously the lead for the Lamplighters on the Federal label, but he left to go solo. He signed with Eddie and Leo Mezer's Aladdin Records, and his first release on Aladdin became his biggest hit. Was a smash, a song entitled Little Bitty Pretty One, but Rick requested his 9th Aladdin release. This tune co-written by Otis Blackwell. So by request for Rick in Philly, January 1959 here for Mr. Thurston Harris on Aladdin. The song is called In the Bottom of My Heart.
In the bottom of my heart, 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 and love for you, so good and true. Give a look in the bottom, you'll see in the bottom, in the bottom, don't lie in the bottom, I hold in the bottom, the love for you, in the bottom, so good, in the bottom, so true. In the bottom of my heart, there's a love for you, so good and true. In the bottom of my heart, 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 oh, in the bottom of my heart, there's a love for you, so good and true. Well, look up in the bottom, look down in the bottom, look through in the bottom, look around in the bottom, look good in the bottom, look long in the bottom, you'll see in the bottom, it's strong in the bottom, it's yeah in the bottom of my heart. There's love for you, so good and true. Yeah, yeah, in the bottom of my heart. Yeah, yeah, in the bottom of my heart. In the bottom of my heart. Yeah, in the bottom of my heart. Oh, in the bottom of my heart. There's love for you, so good and true. In the bottom, 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 in the bottom.
Cool tunes here for a Saturday evening by request for Rick in Philly. That one there by Thurston Harris, a cool tune there. I think the Sharps, they don't get credit on the record. They're probably backing him up there. January 1959, that's his 9th of 14 releases on the Aladdin record label. In the Bottom of My Heart is the name of the tune. Johnny G here spinning original vinyl 45s. We do it every Saturday from 10 to midnight. It's all 50s and early 60s here tonight as I babble on a lot tonight. Johnny G very talkative. See, losing the weight makes me more talkative as we continue here. Let's stay in the year 1959. This group originally from Brooklyn, New York. Now their first release originally came out on Ben Smith's Extra label. There was a kiddie lead actually with their first release. Johnny Marcy was his name. I'm sure you're familiar with the tune Patricia and You I Adore, which is actually a pretty hard record to find on the original with the small press. Then they added Richard Jackson to the group. Now he was the brother of the Jesters lead singer Adam Jackson, and Ronald Jenkins wrote this song and he is doing lead on this. We stay in the year 1959. Give a listen to the Young Tones on Extra and their tune called Can I Come Over?
Can I come over? Can I come over? I wanna be friends. I'll make you love me the rest of your life. My love was blind and I couldn't see. Yes, I must. I still have a chance to start our old romance. What I'll give to have you again, just the way we used to be. I need you so, how much you never, never know. There are no words in this world that can explain my feelings. I really go for you. No one can make me feel the way you do. Boom, 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 boom. How long will it be before you come to me? There is so much you don't understand. I just want to be your man. I just want time to change your mind. Oh, time to change your mind. Come on, let me change your mind. Oh, baby, darling, just so fine. I wanna hear you say one more.
I know Fred used to tune in to the Gus Gossard show. That was really one of his favorites. He would play that record a lot because that's where I first heard that 45. 1959, the Young Tones on Ben Smith's extra record label, Can I Come Over is the name of that one. I remember when he played that record the first time, it went on my want list, and I couldn't find an original. It took me a long time. Actually, I did get one, but it had a warp in it. I was really upset. Then I was able to, I went to some, I think it wasn't Edison. It was where I met Dave the Rave. He's got to tell me where that record show was. You drive your cars in, and it was in New Jersey in an industrial park. And I don't know if it was Barry Soles or somebody had that record there, and that's when I bought it. But I think you can get that on the Candlelight record label if you don't want to get the original. But anyway, Johnny G speaking out here tonight. We're on the soapbox, but let's continue here. Another great two-sided 45 up next as we go to Casino Records. This one distributed by Gone Records, and again, George Gollner got involved with this one, but this label was originally out of Philadelphia, but it was sold to George Gollner, and this group is from Queens, New York. They had two releases on this label. The first one you all know was a song called Trickle Trickle. They followed this one up a little later in January of 1959 with this one. But I'm playing the B-side of the 45. It features Ronald Cussy on lead. He also wrote the tune. Let's go to January 59 for the videos. The videos on Casino, a song entitled Shooby Dooby Cha Cha Cha.
Shooby dooby wah wah, shooby dooby cha cha cha, shooby dooby wah wah, shooby dooby cha cha cha, shooby dooby wah wah, shooby dooby cha cha cha.
Boom, 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 boom.
Your love goes around, yes it goes up and down. Oh baby, can't you see? I want you to love me. Oh, I wonder what can the matter be? Won't you try to help me to understand? Your love is something that I do adore. Please say you love me for now and evermore.
and my heart is spinning all around, wondering what to do. And evermore your love, yes, it goes up and down, and my heart is spinning all around, wondering what to do.
Oh, so the video's Ronald Cussion Lee. That's a song he wrote. That's the intended B-side from January 1959. Shooby Dooby Cha 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 is the name of that one. Fast Cha-Cha dances here on the Casino record label. Johnny G here as we move into 1960 now with a request for bopper boy Warren. Warren wanted to hear this group called the Tuxedos, who in actuality are the Hollywood Saxons. Let's go to George Mottola's Forte record label, and written by group members Charles Taggart and lead singer Mr. Stan Beverly. Stan Beverly on lead. This one from September 1960. They are the Tuxedos on Forte. It's called Yes, It's True.
There's one thing for sure. You don't believe me. You keep asking me, is it really true?
It's true.
I love you.
And you alone, I want to be my darling. King of your throne, I will sure will always love you. Darling, you said for sure that you'll be mine, but you're still giving for me. Such a hard time, maybe someday you will be true. It's true. I love you. And you alone, I want to be. Oh, darling, king of your throne, I will for sure will always love you.
One thing for sure. You don't believe me.
Thanks for requesting that one, Bopper Boy Warren. The Tuxedos, September 1960. Stan Beverly on lead. Yes, It's True is the name of that one on the Forte record label. Now, for you collectors out there, the True first press is on a gold label, number 1. There are 2 presses on the gold label. There's the small print, which is the harder one to find. I have it on the big print. The title of the song is in big print. It should be in small. Well, the first presses have it on smaller print. But anyway, I won that from John Tefteller a long time ago. I still have his sticker here, and he's got like a, what does he have in here? He's got a disc jockey. You know those disc jockey tickets they put in the jukebox. It's Bobby Bear, Miller's Cave, and Jeannie's Last Kiss. What year was RCA 8249? That was what. Maybe this is from a jukebox stash. So if it's from 1960, then it's probably in an original 1960 brown sleeve. Anyway, that's a great request, Warren. Thanks for doing that. The yellow presses are third presses, and they go for much, much cheaper money. Johnny G here, educating all the cool listeners out there. Hope you're digging on the cool tunes here. Let's continue. We are in 1960. Let's go back to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. This is the debut 45 for Mr. Lou Christie. He was a member of a group called The Classics. Now, this song was written by Twyla Herbert. He was who would become Lou's writing partner especially on all his hits. She wrote a lot of the hits for Lou Christie along with him. Now, this 45 came out on Joe Auerbach's Star label, which is also, of course, out of Pittsburgh. We go back to June of 1960. Give a listen to The Classics on Star with the Lou Christie on lead. It's called Close Your Eyes.
Close your eyes, my baby. Close your eyes, my baby. Close your eyes and dream of me. Dream of me. Go to sleep, my baby. Go to sleep, my baby. Go to sleep and dream of me.
We'll send that one out to all the Pittsburgh listeners out there. Those are The Classics. Lou Christie on lead, June 1960 release. Close Your Eyes, originally on the Star label, Joe Auerbach's Star Records, Starr. A little bit of a whispering bell sound in that song for sure. Now, when Lou Christie had a hit with Lightning Strikes on MGM, this song was re-released as Lou Christie and the Classics on the Alcar label in 1966, so you can have it on that label also as a reissue. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening. We are almost in Vinyl Treasure overtime, so let's continue here. Up next, a request from my number one California listener and watcher, Mady Campboy. Thanks again for your emails and all your requests. Thank you all for that. And I just found a lot of them this week because I was looking for a lot. I even got Lino's request tonight. But anyway, she wanted to hear this duo, Marvin and Johnny. And did you know that there were 8 different singers that recorded as Johnny? Now, Marvin was always Marvin Phillips, but this Johnny was really Bobby Sheen. This first came out on the Firefly label in July of 1960, which I do have, but I'm playing it because I found it so quickly on the second press. This is on Hunter Hancock's Swingin' label, which came out 2 years later in 62. So by request for Mady Campboy, we'll call it July 1960 when it originally came out. It's Marvin and Johnny on Swingin' with their tune called Second Helping of Cherry Pie.
I want some more cherry pie. I want some more cherry pie. Give me a second helping of cherry pie. Peaches, sugar and cream. Oh, what a dream. Give me a second helping of cherry pie. Oh, like that, be quick. I'll jump over the stick to get some cherry pie. Oh, yeah. And when little boy blue comes and blows his horn, all the cherry pie will be gone. Oh, no, I like it. Oh, yes, I do. I won't save none for you. But give me a second helping of cherry pie. Oh, like Jack, be quick. I'll jump over the stick to get some more cherry pie. And when little boy blue comes and blows his horn, all the cherry pie will be gone. I like it. Yes, I do. I won't save none for you. But give me a second helping of cherry pie. A second helping of cherry pie.
As Marvin and Johnny by request for Mady Campboy listening over in California. Originally released July 1960 on the Firefly record label. You can also get it on Swingin' Records from 1962. Second helping of Cherry Pie. I guess the answer to the, 1955 release Cherry Pie or 56. Anyway, Johnny G not having any Cherry Pie. Not yet, but I plan to sometime in the near future as we continue here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. Up next, a singer from Charlotte, North Carolina, and I hate it when disc jockeys at these radio stations call him a one-hit wonder, even though he really did have one major hit to go all the way to number one, a song called Kansas City, or his tune that he recorded called Kansas City on Bobby Robinson's Fury label. But he had a lot of releases during his career on many labels. He did Savoy Records for one. He goes on so many record labels he has, but it goes back to 1952. But he continued well into the late 70s. He did until his passed away, though. I forget the year, but anyway. He had over 42 releases that came out on a 45, so I wouldn't call him a one-hit wonder. Anyway, here's his fifth of 10. He recorded on the Fury label. It's a song he wrote. We go to September of 1960. Give a listen to Mr. Wilbert Harrison. Wilbert Harrison on Fury. It's called Little Schoolgirl.
Bum, 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 bum. Hey, little schoolgirl, where in the world did you get such a smile and those big pretty eyes? Hey, little girl, with your head full of curls, do I stand a chance to take you to the dance? Bum, 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 bum. Hey, little schoolgirl, you are so fine. Hey, little schoolgirl, oh gee, I wish you were mine. La la, gee, I wish you were mine. La la, gee, I wish you were mine. La la, gee, I wish you were mine.
That's Mr. Wilbert Harrison. Wilbert Harrison, September 1960, Bobby Robinson's Fury record label. That's the fifth of 10 on Fury, song entitled Little Schoolgirl, as we continue here. And the next the next 5 records are requests for various people that sent me requests currently and in the past. But anyway, up next, a request for listener Lino. Lino, I finally found this record. I posted it on my Facebook wall, this 45, for this group out of Asbury Park, New Jersey. Their first release came out on the Most label in 1959, but they had 3 on the Vibro label. ABC Paramount picked up their first Vibro release, a great record they do called My Heart. This is their second, written by the lead singer. His name is Henry Stoney Jackson. I guess that's what it is. I don't know. But anyway, he originally was a member of Paul Himmelstein's Heartbreakers. You know, they do, what is that record? 1, 2, 3. What is that song that Paul Himmelstein and the Heartbreakers do? 1, 2, 3, I Love You. Oh, it's on Vic. Johnny G losing his mind. But anyway, this is a request for Lino I've been looking for months. But let's give it a spin. It's early 61. They're called the V8s. It's on Vibro Records. It's called Guess What?
Boom, 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 boom.
Da da da.
just what I need you. Trust me, your whole life through. I'll always want you. Never will I go astray. I'm hoping that you love me until my dying day. Until my dying day. Until my dying day.
That's a second release for the V8s on the Vibro label, going out to listener Lino in California. Guess what is the name of that one? Early 1961 release. I know that Bopper Boy Warren, if I would have got your email a little bit sooner, I saw your other request in the box. I will get that one because Bopper Boy requested another V8. It's actually their third one. So I'm going to find that one. I'll probably get it on next week. We will. We got some more requests. Up next, a request for Rick and Philly for this group from Queens, New York. Their first release came out on the Apollo label, a song I'm sure many of you know. You familiar with a tune called Bermuda Shorts? Then they had a 45 on the Sparkle label that I need. I don't have that Sparkle 45. It has eluded me. Had a couple chances to get it, but it just fell through my fingertips. But anyway, this is one that Rick requested on Jerry Love's Carol label, and I was deciding if I should play the original first press, which is on styrene, or the second, which is vinyl. And I compared the two, and the vinyl press sounds actually a little better, and because I thought the styrene press sounded good, but it is different sounds that you get from the vinyl press versus the styrene press. That's what I say. But anyway, the tune written by the lead singer, his name is Ray Payne. And this one charted number 39 on WABC radio here in New York City. Let's go back to July 61 by request for Rick and Philly, the Delroys on Carol, and their tune called Love Me Tenderly.
Love me tenderly. I know you cannot make a fool of me. Oh yeah, tenderly. Yeah, yeah. Or when you hold me tight. Or when you squeeze me, love, I know it's right. It's so. Oh, baby, tenderly. Yeah, yeah, just like the autumn leaves caress the tree. Like a mother loves a child, I stand beside you all the while, facing the future with a smile. And of this there is no doubt. When you touch me, love, you make me shout. Oh yeah, oh love me tenderly, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Always like that record. That's a great request, Rick and Philly. The Delroys, July 1961, Ray Payne on lead, Love Me Tenderly. is the name of that one on the Carol record label. That is the original. It was also covered in 63 by the Scott Brothers. They do a little bit more soulful version. I was going to play the two together, but I had too many requests. And you're right, Rick, this record is very short. I'm sure the AM stations loved it. It's a minute 44 seconds. That's pretty short. Now, how long is Stay? I think Stay is the shortest number one record ever by Maurice Williams and the Zodiacs. Anyway, let's not get to talking into that. But anyway, let's continue here. We go to Hartford, Connecticut for this next request for Mr. George Tompkins. It's a cover song recorded by so many vocal groups through the years. The song, though, was originally done back in 1948 by Vera Lynn on the London record label. That only comes out on a 78 unless you have it on the 45. I don't know. But this one charted number 31 on WHYN in Springfield, Massachusetts. It features Barbara Knight on lead by request. For George Tompkins, we go to June of 61 for the Downbeats on Entente Records and their rendition of the tune Again.
This couldn't happen again. This is that once in a lifetime. This is the thrill divine. What's more, this never happened before. Though I have prayed for a lifetime that such as you would suddenly be mine. Mine to hold as I'm holding you now, and yet never so near. Mine to have when the now and the here disappear. What matters here for when this doesn't happen again. We'll have this moment forever, but never, never again. But never, never again.
By request for George Tompkins, a group out of Hartford, Connecticut, June 1961, the Downbeats, featuring Barbara Knight on lead on the Entente, Entente. It's a real cool looking label. It looks like it's red and it's got all these, I don't know, it looks like, I don't even know what's on it. It looks like little numbers, VJ, what are these? Oh, it's in a different language. Johnny G losing his mind. Anyway, the downbeats there with, again, as we continue here. And I used to do, really, and I know Warren knows this because he liked, I know Warren was a big fan of my Gospel of the Week, but I used to do a Gospel Record of the Week. I used to do a Rockabilly Record of the Week. I don't know if they were both at the same time. Maybe they weren't. I think at one time I even did a Blues Record of the Week because I do have all those styles of records in my collection. I mean, I'm not going to do a country record of the week because I could probably do that too, and a pop record of the week. Sometimes there is some good pop though, like the McGuire Sisters. That's good pop. But anyway, I can still do it if you listeners like. I know Warren might like it, but I don't know if a lot of the other listeners would. But Warren did enjoy many of the Gospel 45s I did play, and Warren would request them from time to time. And this what shows you how long it took me to find this request for Warren in the No Humidity Basement. It's on Sam Cooke's SAR label, and Warren requested the Soul Stirrers. They have a number of releases on Sam Cooke's SAR label. This one's from June of '61. It was written by the lead singer. His name is Paul Foster. So by request for Warren, we go to SAR Records, SAR Records, The Soul Stirrers from June '61. It's got some scratches in it, but I played it a few times to make sure I got all the kinks out of it, but I did. This goes out to Warren, The Soul Stirrers. It's called I Love the Lord.
I love the Lord. Love the Lord. I love the Lord. Love the Lord. I love the Lord. Yes, I love. I love the Lord. I love the Lord. He's been so good. Been so good. He's been so good. Been so good. He's been so good. Yes, he has. He's been so good. He been my friend, been my friend. He been my friend, been my friend. He been my friend, been yes, my friend. He been my friend, he been my friend. Oh, when I was in bondage, living a life of sin, I couldn't find no comfort. Lord, peace within. Oh, but Jesus brought me out. Now I can sing and shout. I love Him. Yes, I do. I love the Lord. You know, He brought me out. Yes, He did. He brought me out. Brought me out. He brought me out. Yes, He did. He brought me out. And that's why I can say I love the Lord. Love the Lord. I love the Lord. Love the Lord. I love the Lord. Love I love the Lord. Yeah. I love the Lord. Oh, when I was in bondage, living a life of sin, I couldn't find no comfort, nor peace within. Oh, but Jesus brought me out. Right now I can sing and shout. I love Him. Yes, I do. I love the Lord. 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 Love the Lord. I love the Lord. Oh yeah, I love the Lord. I love the Lord.
By request for Bopper Boy Warren. That's a cool gospel tune. Thanks for requesting that oh so long ago. And I do have a number of gospel records in my collection. That tune there called I Love the Lord. It featured Paul Foster on lead. Those are the Soul Stirrers, June '61. Sam Cooke's SAR record label from the album Jesus Be Offense. is the album that's on. Johnny G here in Vinyl Treasure Overtime, getting to some requests. Got a couple more here for you listeners sticking around, so if not, you can always tune in on the archive. But here's a request for listener Ted Arkowski. I think he's out of a suburb of Pittsburgh. I used to talk to Ted quite often about collecting records way back when, and then kind of lost touch a little bit, and I don't know what happened, but he started, I think, selling his collection. But he had his favorites. He used to talk to me about all the Pittsburgh collectors and who he used to buy from. I used to buy from someone he used to know, Joe Jedlecka, moved to Tennessee, but he passed away, Fred Bond, a bunch of others in the Pittsburgh area. But he requested this tune. I had this one misfiled also. This was heard quite a bit, this song, on oldie radio back in the 70s and the early 80s here in New York City. The group was founded by Slim Rose, owner of the Times Square record store. He was a catalyst to the first revival in the music, at least I say that, in the early 1960s. But he discovered this group from Glen Cove, Long Island. The song was initially recorded by Slim for release on his Times Square label, but he leased the master to Atco Records, and this actually bubbled under on the Billboard charts at number 103 for 3 weeks. It features Roger LaRue on lead. We go to June of 61 by request for Ted Arkowski. These are the Time Tones on the Atco label with their tune called Pretty Pretty Girl. By request for Ted Arkowski. Also, Bopper Boy Warren likes that tune, and so do many others. The Time Tones there with Roger LaRue on lead. June 61 came out on the Atco record label. Pretty Pretty Girl, the full title, Pretty, Pretty Girl, parentheses, The New Beat is the full title. Johnny G here in Vinyl Treasure Overtime. I got about two, after this next record, I got two requests, actually another one for Daryl I'm going to play tonight. Actually, no, another one from Matey. So those, and then that should possibly do it for the show. But anyway, on the last Vinyl Treasure Show, I played a song on Vinny Catalano's Blast label, cool upbeat novelty tune called Roaches by a group called the Court Jesters. Now, the B-side is a serious ballad that sounds great. For you collectors, the first presses of this have to be a styrene press, as Blast would reissue it under another number, Blast 208, but the first presses are Blast 201. Anyway, we are in the year 1961. These are the Court Jesters on Blast with a song entitled The Trial parentheses of My Love.
Court comes to order.
The court will come to order.
The trial of my love. She promised me she would always love me. She swore that we'll never ever part. Now I'm charging her, I'm a charging her with breaking my heart. Whoa, Lord, whoa, Lord, I'm a telling the truth of this affair. I would not take the stand and tell a lie. She crossed her heart that she can only love. She'll tell me goodbye. So ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you have heard my evidence to this case. The defendant offered evidence which proves she'll give it all away. Sinners her to life. It belongs to dwell with me until eternity and feed me forever with love and joy. Whoa, Lord, whoa, Lord.
Those are the Court Jesters there. Court Jesters from 1961, The Trial parentheses of My Love came out on the Blast record label. That's a pretty nice tune there. Johnny G here in Vinyl Treasure Overtime. Have a request for Cheryl Morgan. Thank you, Cheryl, for your email. I know you sent me actually 3 requests. There was one that you sent by the Fleetwoods that was not on a 45. It was on an LP, a 1961 LP. I think it was called Dream with the Fleetwoods. It never came out on a 45, and I don't have that LP, so I can't play that, although I can play LP cuts. I think I have done that from time to time, played LP cuts for sure, but I forget the name of it. I wrote it down. I mentioned it to Charlene if she remembers the title. But I looked for it and I checked, and it came out on a, you can go to the websites and you can check out like Dalton LP discography, and if you type in the title, it'll come up. It'll show you where what LP. It was a 61 LP that the Fleetwoods did. Unfortunately, I don't have it, but I do have the other requests. And a couple of weeks ago, I featured both sides of this North Philadelphia girl group. Their first release I played on Larry Kerin's Mask label. I played I'm Lonely, I think, a couple of weeks ago. And the week prior, I played Go Away Baby, their group called the Baby Dolls. Now, Cheryl requested the A-side of their second release, which I'm playing for her right now. It features Marion Warren on lead. We stay in the year 1961. 61, or is it 62? I forget, Charlene. These are the Baby Dolls on Mask with the tune called What a Wonderful Love.
Your wonderful love can turn the darkness to day. It can make the troubles go away. What a wonderful love. Your wonderful love can turn the moon to gold. It can make the sun turn cold. What a wonderful love. Dearest darling, I love you so. I won't ever let you go. We'll be together in our loveness. We'll be together in happiness. Your wonderful love is so divine, and I'm so glad that it's mine. What a wonderful love. Dearest darling, I love you so. I won't ever let you go. We'll be together in our loveness. We'll be together in happiness. Your wonderful love is so divine, and I'm so glad that it's mine. What a wonderful love. What a wonderful love. What a wonderful love.
By request for listener Cheryl Morgan, those are the Baby Dolls out of Philadelphia. 1961, I think it might be early 62. I forgot because I discussed this with Charlene, I think. Anyway, Marion Warren on lead there, the Baby Dolls by request for Cheryl on Mask Records. What a Wonderful Love is that one. Up next, another request here, actually from Matey Campboy of California, and again, an old request for Bopper Boy Warren of Oregon. Unfortunately, he went to bed, but I told him I had a number of requests for him, but I had to play this one for Matey, so I wouldn't if it was only his request. I wouldn't do that. But anyway, I couldn't find this record. It was filed in alphabetically in the P box. I'm looking for it in the N box, but it was in the P box. Anyway, I have no info about this group, and I'm guessing they're out of New York. The song was written by Steve Veroka, Verokoa, Verocoa. He also produced it, so it's by request for Matey Campboy and Bopper Boy Warren. We go to April of 62. These are the Nobels. The Nobels, Nobells, on Mar Records. It's called Crying Over You.
Teardrop drop, teardrop drop, teardrop drop, teardrop drop, teardrop drop,
My life could be so blue. I cry all day since you went away. Oh, I cry. Why must this be the end? Oh, I cry. Oh, cry over you.
North Dakota Bob, if you're listening on the archive, which he does on Sunday morning, tell Bopper Boy to go to whatever number it is, 2:36, well, before 2 hours, 36 minutes and 50 seconds, somewhere around there, to hear his request. But that's a great tune, the Nobels, April 62, Crying Over You, on the Mar record label. I think I'm going to play about three more records or so before we sign off here. It is getting late here, and got another cover song, though. This one first recorded in 1959 on the Capitol label by the Fascinators, but this group is out of Brooklyn, New York. Their debut single came out on the Musictron label in 61. Now, this group's founder was Larry Fawcett, but I don't know if he's doing lead. Charlene had some information I didn't get a chance to double check and research, so it's either Larry Fawcett or Joe Marino or John Lee Lenoli on lead. I don't know which one, but it's a cool cover tune. We go to May 62, the Enchanters on JJ&M, and their rendition of the tune Oh Rosemary.
Oh, Rosemary, please won't you try to give your love to me? Don't pass me by. Oh, Rosemary, I've waited so long, and then for me, don't say it's wrong. Oh, Rosemary, I made a vow, no other love could be. I'll prove it now. But my heart's in the plea. On what you do, my life depends. And with your answer, love starts or ends. I
Cover tunes here on the Vinyltreasure Show. Those are the Enchanters. The Enchanters from May 62 on the JJ&M record label, a cover of the Fascinators' Oh Rosemarie, as we wind down on this like extended version of the Johnny G Vinyltreasure Show. Up next, a request from Matey Campboy. She wanted to hear this duet. This duet, they met while they were both in the Fort Custer Air Force Base in Detroit. And the male, his name is, it's a male and female duet, Johnny and Jackie. Now, Johnny is really Johnny Bristol. He was from Morganton, North Carolina. And Jackie, her name was Jackie Beavers. And she was originally from Cartersville, Georgia. So they first recorded for the Anna label in 1959. They do a great tune called Lonely and Blue. That's a good song. Then in 1959, then they signed with Harvey Fuqua's Tri-Fi record label. They released 4 on the Tri-Fi label. And they both wrote this tune. And this one's going out by request for Matey Campboy. We moved to April of 1963 for Johnny and Jackie. This is on Tri-Fi Records, and she requested this cool tune. It's called Stop What You're Saying.
Oh no, no, no. Stop what you're saying. You said that you don't love me, and you never really loved me from the start. Oh no, stop what you're saying. You're breaking my heart, my heart, my heart. You say that you don't want me, and you never really wanted me all along. Oh no, stop what you're saying, darling, you're wrong. Child, my love for you grows stronger every minute, every hour of the day. And without your love to guide me, I just can't, you know, I just can't find my way. No, 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 you said that you don't need me, and you never really needed me from the start. Oh no, stop what you're saying. You're breaking my heart, my heart. You told me you didn't love me, and you keep right on, baby, breaking my heart, my heart. You said you didn't need me, and you keep right on, baby, breaking my heart, my heart. You told me you didn't want me, and you keep right on, baby, breaking my heart.
By request for Matey Campboy, Johnny and Jackie, April 1963. Stop What You're Saying on the Harvey Fuqua's Tri-Fi record label. Johnny is Johnny Bristol. Jackie is Jackie Beavers. Yeah, I said that right. There you go. Jackie is a guy, not a girl. It's not a guy-girl duet. Johnny G needs his head examined. Yes, I do. I'm sorry. Folks, it's getting a little bit too late, but we got 2:45s to go. 2:45s to go before Johnny G signs off here. I'm just thinking I had a 45 by this girl, Jackie Beavers. It's really a guy, as I mess up. Anyway, let's go to Here, two more records to find. We're going to close with a request for Daryl. That's going to be the closer tonight. Shows you Johnny G had too much to drink today. Anyway, I have, here's a flip side from actually not last week, a couple weeks ago. Actually, Matey requested a song by the Chances on Morris Levy's Roulette label. The song was called What Would You Say? That was the B-side of the 45. We're going to give a listen to the A-side. It's an up-tempo for this group, who were really the Solitaires, minus, I think, the bass of the group. It was Milton Love, Bobby Baylor, Buzzy Willis, and a new bass, Freddie Donovan. He was the bass. But anyway, this is our second to last record from February 64, The Chances on Roulette, with a song entitled Through a Long and Sleepless Night. That's what Johnny G needs, is sleep.
Dip 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 dip. Sleepless night, I whisper your name. Sleepless night, can't help but wonder if you're lonely too. As I lie there and toss about so and a loss about you. I wish my heart would leave my memories alone. Why must I relive the joys we have known? I pray that someday our love will see the light. Till then, in tick-tock silence, I'll beg my heart to weepless all through an oh so long and sleepless night. Yip, 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 yip. I pray that someday our love will see the light. Till then, in tick-tock silence, I'll beg my heart to weepless all through an oh so long and sleepless night. An oh so long and sleepless
February 1964, released there for The Chances. The Chances on Morris Levy's Roulette record label, song entitled Through a Long and Sleepless Night. That's what Johnny G needs, is sleep. That's going to do it for Johnny G and the Vinyltreasure Show. I want to thank you for joining Johnny G, listening to Original Vinyl 45s. If you want to get in touch with me, please send me an email. You can send it to vinyltreasures@aol.com. And I'm recording this under the new Ustream. It's this new beta thing that they're doing that I didn't know how to work out, but I'm going to practice a little bit with it. I was doing a little test run this afternoon. Some of you know that, but you could also go to vinyltreasures.net. You can stream or download the show there. And again, that's going to do it for the show. We're going to close the show tonight with a request for Daryl. I didn't forget Daryl. A request for Daryl Letts that's been on watching Johnny G on the and these records since the beginning of the show. It's the rarest 45 on Lou Fargo's Fargo label out of New York City. So by special request for Daryl, this group is called The Execs. It's from 1964. The Execs on Fargo, the song called Walking in the Rain. It's a great record, nice ballad. That's going to do it for me, Johnny G. But anyway, thank you, Charlene, for all your help. Please tune in tomorrow evening. My buddy Dave the Raven, his Relics and Rarities show from 9 to midnight right here. A lot of cool 60s records records out of Dave's collection. Plays originals. Now he's playing more originals than CDs. So has 2 turntables, so that's working out well. But again, I had a lot of fun tonight. You can listen to all the DJs here on Top Shelf Oldies. Yes, Alexa has it now. I told my mother downstairs, I said, tell Alexa, play Top Shelf Oldies on TuneIn Radio. If she hears that, me saying that, she will play it. And I don't think I had commercials on mine. I don't think I had it. But anyway, that's going to do it, folks. I had a wonderful time spinning these 45s. I've been doing it for almost 3 hours, but it's been a lot of fun. I had a busy day today, but I'll be back next Saturday at 10 p.m. with more 45s out of my collection. Hope you enjoyed the tunes. So everybody have a safe and happy week. I will see you next Saturday at 10 p.m. right here on Top Shelf Oldies. Just want to say, everybody, so long.
I love you as I go walking in the rain, walking in the rain, searching for love.
Look at here, girl. You and I are supposed to be tight. You know you didn't do me right, but I can't complain, for I'm walking in the rain. But sugar, daddy still loves you.
So come, lend me your umbrella. Let me be your fella, just walking in the rain. Walking in the rain. I love you. I really do. Just walking in the rain. I love you.
All right, folks, that's going to do it. Thanks for sticking around. Your last one sticking around. Don't know if anybody, there's still some people in the Top Shelf Oldies chat room also, but that's a great tune, Daryl. You have the record or no? It's a good record. I actually upgraded this to a mint copy, and I sold my other copy, so it kind of cut the price in half. It's pretty, it's a nice mint copy of the record. So it's probably the most expensive record on the Fargo label. I mean, there's the Aquatones on this label. There's a couple single artist stuff. I have other things on the label too, but I am gonna Sir Hats. When you check this out, I will I'll pull out some 78s. Not really the early stuff, but kind of my good stuff that. I have some rare records that you only get on a 78 too, but I'll see. I got some down in the basement. Maybe I'll be surprised. I don't even know what I have. I might have some good stuff. But anyway, it'll be a lot of fun. I was talking about it anyway, but I'm glad you guys stuck around, and I'll see you next week. And thanks again, Charlene, for all the research. I know I put a lot of pressure on you, but you do great. You really do, and I shouldn't do that. But I had a tough day today with work and everything else. But anyway, it was all good, and everybody take care and be safe, and I'll see you next Saturday. So long.